Hi everyone, how are you doing? Are you having a good week? The sun is shining. Yesterday apparently was the hottest day in the UK that we've had all year. Let's hope that summer has finally decided to grace us with its presence and that we can start enjoying all of our summer dresses and summer outfits and enjoy the sun. Hey Karen, glad you're here. Um, I've got some new items that we're going to be crafting with tonight. Before I get into that, I just want to remind you that because it's the last day of July, this is the last day to earn bonus days vouchers. So for every £45 you spend, you will get a £4.50 voucher, which you can spend in August, aka tomorrow. That offer finishes tonight at 10 p.m. So if you do want to earn any more bonus day vouchers, you've got a very, very small window in which to do so. But new things are coming, exciting things are coming. So starting tomorrow, there is going to be, first of all, the redemption of your bonus days vouchers. If you have vouchers to spend that I am taking care of for you, please do get in touch. I will be reaching out to you anyway, so that we can work out what you want to spend your goodies on. There's going to be a designer series paper sale, but that's not starting until the 6th. So we've got to wait a couple of days before that kicks off. But there's 15% off many of the designer series papers, not the specialty papers and not the cardstock packs or the paper stacks, so like the in colour and colour family type ones, but all of the other gorgeous papers that are in the annual catalogue, they have got 15% off, which is exciting. And if you are a demonstrator, then pre-order starts as well on the 6th of August, which is exciting. So if I flick round, oh look, what's this? Yes, this is the new Christmas catalogue, and there are gorgeous things in it. Am I going to show you? No, I'm not, because I'm really mean, plus I'm not technically allowed to. So you're going to have to wait. If you're not a demonstrator, I can't show you those things yet, but I will be ordering my own catalogues to send out to you. And if you've shopped from me in the last 6 months, then you'll be getting one of those catalogues coming through the post to you very shortly. Hey, Shona. The project that I've got for you tonight, so this is using one of the new stamp sets out of the annual catalogue. It's called Fields in Bloom. It's a 2-step stamping set, and it's one of these sets that I haven't used yet. I bought it because I saw it in the catalogue and I loved it, and I've got a couple of different ideas of what I can do with it. So I thought I would pull it out tonight, have a play with it, and you can tell me what you think. And I've pulled out a whole load of card. First of all, I will mention that I'm going to be using the notelets for these. So I'm going to be using the basic white note cards and envelopes because I thought it was the right size. Hey Ali, hey Jean. This is the best place. I think this is going to be the right size for what I want to do for this card. And then I am thinking on a couple of different colour combinations. So for my green, so if you look at the stamp set, you've got these 2 pieces here. The bottom one, which are the leaves, and the top one, which is the flowers. So the bottom one, I think I want to do in green, and depending on the colour palette, colour combination that I go for, I'm thinking either garden green, granny apple green, garden green, or shaded spruce. Wondering how well these colours are showing up. Granny apple green is almost looking like old olive in this light here, and shaded spruce isn't as emerald green as it normally is, but you're just going to have to trust me on these ones. Hey Julie! Then for the flowers, I was thinking blue flowers could look quite pretty. Yay, Mum, you found us. Glad you're here. So I've put together a trio of blues. So I've got my balmy blue, my boho blue, and my azure afternoon, which is a colour I don't use very often, but I thought it looked nice. For pinks, I thought I would go for Pretty in Pink, Petunia Pop, and Berry Burst, which I thought would be interesting. And then for my purples, because you know what I'm like, and I can't do without purple, I've got my Fresh Freesia, my Highland Heather, and my Gorgeous Grape. So these are the colour combinations that we're going for. I realise that I've got out all the card and I haven't got my trimmer yet, so let me just grab a trimmer. I need to put the trimmer blade back into. I was doing a class recently where we were doing a lot of cutting and then we were doing a lot of scoring, and I thought the safest way so that you score instead of accidentally cut is to remove out all the cutting blades. So I pulled out all the cutting blades, and to be fair, I think it did help. Nobody accidentally cut when they meant to score. Right, if you've not used the notelets before, they are a really handy size. I find them really handy to have on hand. I actually have a huge pile of them at the moment because I accidentally bought notelets when I meant to buy envelopes. So I have twice as many as I meant to have, but it does mean that I'll be able to use them up. So the sizings for these, I cut these in inches just because the notelets themselves are sized as inches. And I used to have little labels on my trimmer to make sure that I cut it to the right size. I don't anymore for reasons that escape me. But anyway, my white layer, I'm going to cut to 3 inches by 4.5. Because I'm going to be doing this in bulk, I'm going to cut 2 sheets at a time. You can get away with that with our trimmer because the blade is really deep. I wouldn't know if I would try that necessarily for other trimmers, but it works all right for ours. So I'm going to cut 4.5 inches. This piece that I've got left at the top, hey Margaret, I'm going to cut this at 3 inches. As I say, I'm doing this in bulk, and so I want to have a number of these layers to hand. And then this piece here, I'm going to turn it 90 degrees and cut that to 4.5. And then again at 4.5. And then this piece that I cut earlier to 4.5, I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to cut it to 3. So you're going to have a panel that is 3 inches by 4.5. And the way that I've cut it here, so out of an A4 sheet of card, you will get 5 layers with a little bit left over, which is useful for doing labels. And because I've cut 2 sheets at a time, I now have 10 layers. Nice and easy. Now, with my colours that I've got here, I want to do contrasting colours to go with the colour theme that I'm doing for my stamping. And at the moment, I'm thinking I'm going to pick the darkest of each of my colour trios for the layer. We're going to try this. Once we've tried it, if it needs to be something a different size, then I will cut them to a better size. I'm not going to be able to do 3 at a time. Let's do 2 and see how that works. So this time, instead of it being 4.5, I'm doing 4 3/4. And the thin edge, instead of it being 3, I'm going to do it to 3 1/4. You can see it just fits and no more. Let's cut this the other way. So 4 3/4 by 3 1/4. Sometimes it's just a really good idea to, if you're going to cut a layer, by the time you've cut one, you could have cut all 5 on the sheet. And it means that you don't have a bit of a sheet that's the wrong size for what you want to do next. And these layers should be just the right size to put your white layer on top and have a little border all the way around. Just going to very quickly do the blue ones. So the long edge, that measurement again is 4 3/4. The short edge is 3 1/4. And then you just turn it around to the other direction. So this is my 4 3/4. And my 3 1/4. The other thing that I've done quite a lot with notelets is So having my layer here in whichever colour I want, so the 4 3/4 by 3 1/4. But what I'm using is the white layer this time, 3 inches by 4 1/2. Because it's 3 inches, you can get a lot of them out of 12 by 12 sheets of designer series paper, or even the 6 by 6. And it's a good way to showcase those designer series papers in a beautiful way. Let me just divide up these colours. So I have my Berry Burst, my Gorgeous Grape, or George's Grape as it was getting called at our last team day, and then my Azure Afternoon. And to be fair, that colour combination in itself is a really nice one. It's not the one we're going for today, but let me stick those at the top. Right, so what I'm going to do, to begin with, I'm just going to use the stamps on a clear block, although I do have my Stamparatus to hand because it might be easier doing it on the Stamparatus moving forward. I'm also not 100% sure this block is going to be big enough. We're soon going to find out. These are photopolymer stamps, which it's an awful lot easier when there's two-step stamping. Let's check. I think my block is deep enough. So let's get my colours. So it started to pull these out. I think if we're looking at the purples to begin with. So just to remind you, this is my purple colour combination for the flowers. And then to decide which green goes best, I think I'm leaning towards Garden Green. Granny Apple Green is nice though. Is Granny Apple Green too bright? I think it's too bright, and I think Shaded Spruce is too dark. Yeah, it needs to be Granny Apple Green. Hope you guys agree with me. That's what I'm going to do initially. If you have any thoughts, then speak now. Or you don't have to forever hold your peace because I've got lots of cardstock. And I don't know about you, but I'm not in any rush tonight. So, what did I say I was going to do? Garden Green? No comments or disagreements. You must all just agree with me. I like it when that happens. Now, I'm going to take my basic white layer that I cut at the start. This is the layer that's going to fit on my notelet. And let's ink up my stamp. You see, and this is another reason why maybe I should be using my Stamparatus. But I thought, let's at least give it a try with the clear block. See how we go. I'm going to line that up and press. Getting thumbs up there. Happy with my colour choices. Always good to know. Let's pull that off. I think it's slightly to one side rather than the other, but not dramatically, so that's not going to be the end of the world. Let's clean off my stamp. I really must clean all my Stampin' Scrubs. Something I do periodically. Pull out all the plates, run them under the tap with a wee bit of washing up liquid, let them dry overnight, because they will pick up ink as time goes on, so you do need to clean them every now and again. Right, so that's the step one. And again, I debated whether I should start with the leaves and then do the flowers, or whether I should start with the flowers and then do the leaves. But I decided to go this way. Was it the right choice? Only time will tell. Here is my one with the flowers. I'll lay that on to see. Yeah, that's nice. Pick that up. Right, this is where it's going to get fun. I'm going to use all 3 shades of purple. Let's move this camera down a wee bit so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to use all 3 shades of purple on this one stamp. Hey Linda, glad you're here. When you're doing this, if you're going to use multiple ink pads on the same stamp, same as if you're using multiple pens, you always start with the lightest colour first, and you go from light to dark. And the way that I want to do this as well is I want my light to be at the top, getting dark as I get closer to the bottom. So let's start with my fresh freesia along the top. Next I'm going to come in with my Highland Heather. I'm going to turn it around because it doesn't really matter if that bottom bit ends up inked as well, because I'm going to put a darker shade over the top. But it would matter if I did it the other way around, because that would take off the fresh freesia that I've just done. Let's use the Gorgeous Grape along the very bottom. Lovely. And then, do I have a tissue in my pocket? I just want to take that bit of ink off the bottom of the block, just so I don't accidentally smear it. If I did accidentally smear it, I would be annoyed at myself. So, better late than never, Linda. That's usually my line. There we go. Right. Let's try and line these up. Now I am trusting that if I line up the bottom ones, all the rest will flow nicely into place. So let's give that a really good press down. See how this works. I think that's worked quite well. Can you see? So I've got my fresh freesia at the top, the Highland Heather layer, and then getting down into my Gorgeous Grape at the bottom. I like that. I do like this stamp. I've liked it ever since I saw it in the catalogue. So then the idea is to layer it up with some Gorgeous Grape and then put it on my notelet. What do you think? Do you know what? This is going to sound daft. I'm just going to use the torch on my phone. See if that, maybe I should have the lighting on for this. Can you see the colours a bit better? Is it better with the lights than without the lights? You tell me. If it's better with the lights, I'll grab them and plug them in. But I'm really pleased with that. I really like that a lot. So we're going to do the same thing with some different colours, and I think I am going to put it on the Stamparatus and get it lined up that way. Lots of people saying it's pretty. I know there's a few people here who like the purples as well. I know I'm definitely a fan of purple. Card's not finished though. We need a sentiment, and my plan for the sentiment is I'm going to use this. So this is one of the label punches that we've got in the catalogue, and the stamps that I'm going to use. So this is Everyday Greetings. This is one of our newer online exclusives, and I thought the thank you on this was a really nice one. It's always useful having a refreshed stock of thank you cards for those times where you just want to tell somebody how grateful you are. So let's do thank you, and I think the colour does need to be one of the purples, doesn't it? Let's just do Gorgeous Grape. Your favourite colour too, Linda. Excellent. You have such good taste, Linda. Such good taste. Let's do my thank you. But because I don't want it to look too plain on the label, it's that balance between it being too plain and it being too fussy. Let's put that down. See, my intention is just to use a couple of these along the side. So let's do the flowers first. So there we go. and then follow that up with more of my garden green. Again, this is another two-step stamping. Better with lights. All right, let me finish this and then I will go and get the lights. They're literally right beside me, so I will go and get them and plug them in. All the better to see you with. Right. There we go. And then that thank you, I'm just going to punch out, centre it and punch it. That's going to go, you know, I think it needs a backing as well, doesn't it? Punch out another one of these. And I know you know this trick, but it's still one I enjoy doing. Let's just find the centre of that. Where's my glue? Just put a bit over that side and the other half over that side. Glue that down. There we go. See, I think that's better. Let me grab the lights and then I'm going to finish this off just with a bit of ribbon. While I'm getting the lights, please somebody tell me whether the gold or the silver looks best with this. I appreciate I might need to zoom in on it, but have a thought what you see. See what the votes are, gold or silver ribbon. Right, can't see without the lights. We've got quite a lot of votes for silver. There we go. So silver is pretty, the gold is pretty too. You've all voted for silver, so I will go with the silver. I'm going to warn you, I'm probably going to do gold next time. Let's start to put this together. So I'm thinking thank you. Where do we think the thank you should go? Let's bring it up a bit. Let's bring this down a bit. That might be the way to do it. So thank you there, in the centre, up at the top. Centre is nice actually. Off to one side. What do we think? Centre? Centre bottom or right bottom? You see, Mum has said for the gold. Too many votes for silver, I'm afraid, Mum. So I will do silver for this one. But I was going to do the silver ribbon to go all the way across like that. But now I'm wondering whether it just needs a tail out to the side. I don't want to do it on the top. I think that blocks this lovely kind of skyline bit, this kind of hills. If I do on the top, you kind of miss that. plus the bottom, I've got more of these dark flowers. So I think I'm going to do bottom. It's whether I do it in the bottom right with a tail or the bottom center with that piece that goes all the way across. You see now Jean's also saying gold. That's the thing, once you can see it with the lights, the gold with the purple. I mean, normally I would have done purple and silver, but the gold does look really nice. Both is overkill. Gold on the red and green, silver on blue and purple. I know you say that, but you know what? Sometimes white and gold, purple and gold, you know, we'll stick with the silver. And I think let's do it down the centre. So I'll stick this on the back. Now this ribbon as well, this trim, the gold and silver trim that's in the current catalogue is slightly different to the previous one. You've got one side, trying to get it to focus, where it's silver completely over the whole thing. But the other side, it's almost white down the centre with silver on both top and bottom, or left and right. It's not really focusing in on there for you, I'm afraid, but you're just going to have to take my word for it. Let's try it on that, see if that focuses it any better. Hopefully you can see. Yeah. Let's do it about there. I'll worry about these mad autofocus settings on my camera later. Even I was getting fuzzy eyes looking at it, twinkling backwards and forwards. Bit of tear tape on the back. Cut that spare bit off, use it for something, I'm sure. Trusty Tombow. You like it with both edges, Mum. I have to say I agree. It's nice having it solid, but you just get a more subtle effect doing it with the edges. There we go. Let's pop that into the centre of my layer. Tombow all over this. Let's pop it on my notebook. And then some foam pads. Using up an end of a sheet at the moment here. Nothing goes to waste in this crafter's craft room. I know I'm not alone. I've seen many of you saving the edges of your dimensional sheets. Waste not, want not, is that not what they say? Let's put them on, pull off the backings. And then let's stick that on the centre. There we go. What do you think? The silver is very pretty. Well, I think I would try gold for the next one, although the next one I'm going to do in pink. Let's do a pink one next and see whether it needs to have gold or silver. And I thought this one, you know how I had the colours that were dark at the bottom and then getting lighter and then lighter? For the next one, instead of having horizontal, let's try vertical and see what sort of effect that gets us. So, am I going to use the Stamparatus? No, do you know what? I'm just going to use the block again. The Stamparatus is great, but I think the clear block is fine. Let's peel off the flower one and go back to my leaves. So, help me out with the colours here. If I'm going to do this one with my Pretty in Pink Petunia Pop and my berry burst, which of the greens is better. So we've got granny apple green, we've got shaded spruce, and we've got garden green. You know, I'm kind of swithering between garden green and granny apple green. Shaded spruce I think is too dark. Let's put that to one side. What do you think? Granny apple green or garden green? Place your votes now. Granny apple, good call, Karen. I am very partial to a granny apple myself. So as before, I'm going to start with the leaves. I actually think that's the best way around to do it, because I think if I started with the flowers, there's too much of a chance that I would do it and it wouldn't all fit on my card afterwards. So granny apple is brighter. Granny apple is brighter. That's very true. In fact, I have just finished munching on a granny apple myself. I do like an apple after dinner, and we go through a large number of them in this house. I can't even blame Tom. It is just me that eats them. All right, let's try and line this up more centered this time. Slightly higher this time as well. Do it right there. There we go. Yeah, do you know, I think I'm getting all right at that. It's okay if the first one turns out a bit wonky. It's even okay if the second, third and fourth ones turn out wonky. But with practice, you can get not too bad at these. It's a bit like pancakes. You know, the first pancake never is completely right, but the ones that come after that are always much better. My mum, of course, being the expert on pancakes, and she has taught me very well, very well. Had many a delicious pancake from my wonderful mum. Okay, so these ones that we're doing this time, so we've done purples, now we're on to pinks. So these are the colours that I'm going for. Pretty in Pink, Petunia Pop and Berry Burst. And this time I'm going to do them vertically rather than horizontally. And now I'm wondering about doing pale in the middle and then darker, or pale, medium, dark. Let's do, yeah, from left to right, let's do pale, medium, dark. See how that works. The card's not going to be portrait, but the colour of the flowers are going to be vertical, if that makes sense. So I'm going to start with my palest shade. That's my Pretty in Pink. Then I'm going to move to my Petunia Pop. I'm going to do down the centre. And then finally, I'm going to do my Berry Burst, the furthest side. Again, I'm just going to take off that extra bit of ink from my block. I've been quite heavy-handed there with my stamps. Now, let's line this up and see how it works. Interesting. What do we think? Left to right? I think that's worked all right. There's not a huge difference between the Petunia Pop and the Berry Burst. That could have been different. So if you had a look, there's our first one where we went from top to bottom. There's our second one where we went from left to right. What do you think? Do you have a preference? The third one, the blues, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try something completely different for the blues. So bear with me. It's going to be an adventure that we'll both go on, that we'll all go on together. But I'm hoping it'll pay off. Right. Let's finish this one off though. So what do we think? Gold or silver for the, I think so the colour that I'm doing underneath, I'm doing the berry burst. What do we think? Gold or silver trim to go with the pinks? You decide that while I do another thank you label. And I'm just going to do the thank you label same as I did the last one with the flowers. Or is that too much with the flowers? Let's see how we can do it slightly differently. Let's start at least with my berry burst. Thank you. So we've got preferences from top to bottom from Karen. Top to bottom is nice. Left to right is nice as well. It reminds me of the fields of tulips that you see in Amsterdam, where they've got all the different rows in all the different colours. So can have variations left to right. For these, let's try stamping off, having them slightly paler. And then the granny apple green for the leaves. The pale colour in the middle. Yeah, you see, I did wonder if having the pale in the centre with the other ones round about it. But that's the beauty when you've got something that's a stamp. You can have lots of different variations. Try lots of different ways. See what looks best. Oh, let's stamp this off as well, just for consistency. Oh, just because I've said hello to all of you lot, I want to say hello to everybody who's watching on replay and everybody who's watching on YouTube. So hello, thank you for watching. I'm glad you're here. And forgive me if sometimes I forget. The people who make comments in person sometimes are the ones that because I see them, I remember them better. But I'm very grateful for everyone who's watching on Catch Up or YouTube as well. Right, did we get to a conclusion? What are we doing on this? Silver or gold? Haven't come to any conclusions that I can see in the chat. Let's do gold then. And let's do it as, do you know what? No, let's do it centre again rather than a tail. Or I could do it centre with a tail on either side. No, let's do one strip to centre, and I'm going to do it in gold. But I will do it in the gold rather than the solid gold. I'll do it in the gold top and bottom so that I've got consistency across the two cards. Right, let's put that there. There we go. Oh, mustn't forget to do the berry burst layer for my sentiment. But let's put that on. Where's my booklet? If you didn't hear me mention it at the start, I'm going to say it again because I really do love them. The notelets are fabulous. They are just so handy to have in your stash, and it's just a lovely size of card to give to someone. If you're writing a message to somebody, then it's really useful because it's not a massive size, so you don't have to think of lots and lots of things to say. And if you're putting it in with a wee gift or something like that, it's just a lovely size. Right. Let's put this label on either end. And then our foam pads. The sheet, I think, is just about done now. In fact, yes, it is done after these ones. But there, you see it. I got all these extra dimensional pieces. I really hope there's not anybody that throws those edge bits off. Throw those edge bits away, because that would be such a terrible waste. Line that up. So now we've got our purple one where the colours go from the top to the bottom, pale to dark. And we've got our pink one where the colours go from left to right, pale to dark. And then the final one I'm going to do is with the blues. Now again, let's just bring back the blues and decide what the best green is going to be for these. So these are our shades of blue, and then we've got garden green, granny apple green, shaded spruce. I think this one might be best with garden green again. What do you lot think? The moment I'm leaning towards garden green, but because I think granny apple green is going to be too bright for the blue. But have a look, tell me what you think. No comments? Either that or I've lost signal somewhere. I'm going to go with garden green, I think, unless I hear something in a hurry to the contrary. Yeah, Karen's agreeing with me. Let's get this out. What do you think of this stamp set? Is it one that you had seen in the catalogue and liked? Is it one that you had flicked past and not paid much attention to? Is it one that you can see yourself using? If you had this stamp set, what would you do differently to what I've been doing? I'll not be offended. No way, shape or form. In fact, you'll just give me ideas, things that I can do with it. Or does anybody have it already? Maybe this is one that you've bought and used and it's now your favourite and you use it on almost every card. Oh, your signal's dropping out, Mum. Sorry to hear that. Hopefully it's just you and not me. Although other people are normally very good to tell me if signals are cutting out. press that down. There we go. Scrapbooking. Be great for scrapbooking. I can see it being used as a border all the way along the bottom of a page, or maybe like top and bottom. One that you'd overlooked, Karen, but now that you see it, you really like it. Heather Buick's got it and you don't have it yet. Yes, well, maybe it will have bumped its way up your priority list, Linda. Well, it was lovely to hear that you were crafting with Heather. I hope she's well. Right, this time, so I am covering the whole thing in my balmy blue. So this is my palest shade. And then what I'm going to do is I've got my boho blue and my azure afternoon pens. I'm going to start with boho blue because that's the paler of the two, and I'm just going to tap it randomly. This is called thumping, by the way, where you just add random bits of ink over. And then I'm going to do the same again. It's got a bit fuzzy. There we go. With the Azure Afternoon. So just randomly tapping that over my stamp. And then quick huff just to make sure that all the ink is fine. Then I'm going to put that, line it up, see what we get. There we go. And this gives us like this multicolored blue. I was going for sort of like a field of cornflowers, so pale with some dark bits on it and some medium bits on it. That's what I've gone for with that. What do you think of that effect? Is it one you like? Is it one you don't like? Is it one that you like but you'd have done it differently? I did think about colouring in like individual flowers themselves, and that would look pretty as well, but it would take a long time and I am too impatient. But the thumping technique, I've seen it done with tree branches before. So we've got a stamp set where you've got the trunk and then you've got different leaves that can be done for the tree foliage. And I've seen it done with one shade of green and then other shades of green kind of thumped over the top. So you get this lovely mixed foliage type look. That's what I was going for this. You do like that. Lots of nice comments. Thank you, Jean. That's so kind. Glad you like it, Julie. Glad you love the blue as well, Mum. Right, it's that debate time again. Gold or silver? I need more silver if I'm going to use that. It's got to be silver for the blue, doesn't it? The gold is pretty, but I think it has to be silver. While you guys debate that, let's do the sentiment. And I am just going to do again the same thank you as I've done before. Going to do it in my Azure Afternoon, and because I didn't bring the ink pad, I'm just going to use the pen. I've got it here. Make it nice and easy. Remember, when you're colouring in a stamp with your pen, use the side of the pen, not the tip. If you use the tip, you're not going to get as much ink on it and it's not going to look as good. So side of the pen all the way. That's almost got like a penmanship look to it. It almost looks like fountain ink. The way that stamp, the font on this stamp is really pretty. And the way that I've done it with the pen rather than the ink pad, just really pleased with that. Right, let's do the flowers. So, granny apple green for the leaves. blue, I think, for the flowers. Blue and silver. You would have coloured in random flowers. The wet wipe technique, Linda, that is absolute genius. This would be a really, really beautiful stamp to use the baby wipe technique. In fact, if I can see baby wipes, I might actually try it just now. What do you want? I was only going to do the 3, but if you want, I'll do a 4th one and we can use the baby wipe technique. Let me know in the comments if you're up for me doing a 4th card. And if you are, I will go and find baby wipes, which I know are in this room somewhere. To be fair, if I can't find them, then that might stop us. But I have tidied up a lot recently, so our odds of finding things are better now than they used to be. A few people saying yes, please. You can either blame or thank Linda Dewar for her genius baby wipe idea. I'm assuming that everybody who's here has seen the baby wipe technique in action. I appreciate some people might not have. I can't remember if I've done a Facebook Live on it before. It's really, really good fun to do. I know we've done it at team days in the past. Plus, I mean, it's not new. Lots of people have been doing baby wipe techniques for a while. But it's lots of fun. Lots of fun. If we are going to do the baby wipe technique, then you need to start giving me suggestions of colour combinations, because I don't even think we have to stick to 3 shades of the same colour. We could have multicolours. We can do, in fact, we might just do the Berry Burst, the Gorgeous Grape and the Azure Afternoon, unless anybody's got better suggestions or ideas. Now is the time to speak, ladies and gentlemen. I am open to ideas about colour combinations. I should have a look at the photos, the colour combination exercise that we did at our last team gathering. Gave me so many ideas for different colour combinations. So I could pull out those and have a look. We also need to decide what green it's going to be, but that might be decided once we figure out what the other colours are. Those 3 colours sound perfect, so Berry Burst, Gorgeous Grape and Azure Afternoon. Let's do that then. So if those are going to be our 3 colours, let's work out what our green needs to be, and I suspect it's going to be Granny Apple Green, but I'll hold them all next to each other in a second and we can decide together. Just so you don't think I'm being all dictatorial and demanding. I do like to play nicely with others. My mum taught me well. Let's see. Keep me working a whole night if encouraged. I'm sure you could, but unfortunately I do have a day job, and if I don't get some sleep, I will be no use to man or beast tomorrow. And that's not going to end well for anyone. So, least of all my poor, long-suffering husband, who already has to put up with me on a daily basis. But he doesn't seem to object too much, so. Like the azure blue. It's a lovely blue. You know, the one that we had previously, Pacific Point, was a bit of a deeper blue and I never really used it much, but Azure Afternoon, I really am enjoying it. It reminds me of Mediterranean seas. There we go. So that's our our blue one done with the thumping. So here's where we're at so far. Okay, so we've got from bottom to top, dark to light. We've got from right to left, dark to right to light. And then we've got the thumping technique where we use multiple colours. And now let's get, ooh, lemon lolly, bubble bath and fresh freesia. That's interesting. Let's see how we go with the first lot. Let me grab my baby wipes and let's give this a go. While I'm finding the baby wipes, just confirm the colours, then the right green to go with it. I suspect it probably is going to be Granny Apple Green, but you have a look, tell me what you think in the comments. We have success. Old Olive or Mossy Meadow on the bottom. The bottom's actually Garden Green, but yes, Granny Apple is definitely going to be the best. Let's go with Granny Apple. And you've seen, I found the baby wipes. Huzzah! And there was much rejoicing. Right, before we get to the baby wipe bit though, I'm going to do the Granny Apple Green background first. To be consistent with what we've done the other times, we've always started with the leaves and then added the flowers. So let's do that again. Aren't you impressed that there was something that was lost in this room that I managed to find it? It's not something that had its own home or something that always gets placed in the same place. It was something that was randomly stashed in my room and I managed to find it. I feel quite proud of myself because there are many things that get lost in this room that are never seen from ever again. But the fact that we found it is in no small way a bit of a miracle. Right, let's put a bit of fluff on there. Get that out of the way. You might see I'm angling, actually, you might not see, I'm angling the stamp as I do it. So I'm finding the angle because I've worked out from trial and error with the other ones that the size of card that I've cut has got equal bits left and right to the bottom. So if I angle the bottom, I can see where it needs to be. And if I make sure I get that bottom spacing bit right, it means the side spacing bits will also be right. It lets me position it where I want it to be. There we go, spot on. Let's clean this off. Right, baby wipe technique. These are all dark, deep colours that I'm using. These are not light colours. And because they are darker colours, I'm going to be sparing with them. Because that's the thing, when you add colour, especially deep colours, if you haven't put on enough, you can always add more. But if you've put on too much, you can't take it off again. So with deep colours, it is best to start gentle and build it up. So first, let's take my baby wipe. Make sure it's all opened up. I've got a clear, do you know, I'm actually going to use 2 baby wipes for this. Normally I would use one and fold it multiple times, but the stamp is quite large here. So I'm going to use 2 on top of each other. There we go. Right. Ha 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 ha. Let's start off with my Azure Afternoon. Next. Bye, Ali. Take care. Open a door into another dimension. You've been in my craft room, haven't you, Linda? I think my entire craft room is just another dimension sometimes. There we go. There's my berry burst. Move it up a wee bit more so you can see where I'm going. And then start the show. Highland Heather. I'm very conscious that the stamp that I'm using has got lots of gaps in between the flowers. So I want to make sure that I've got really good coverage of all of this. You know, I think I need more of the berry burst. I don't want it to be overwhelmed by the blues and the purples. Right. Let's give it a go. Has everybody here tried the baby wipe technique before or seen it in action? If there's anybody here who's watching this in fascination thinking I've never seen anything so insane in my whole life, what are you doing now? Then speak up. Right. Let's press this down and line it up. First time you've seen this, Jean? You've got to try it. Honestly, it's so much fun. There we go. And then these have come out quite pale. I should maybe have used more ink, but you've got this multicoloured effect. Do you know what? Let's do it with a bit more ink and do it again. My baby wipes are also quite dry. Ooh, here's an idea. Let's use, do I have a spritzer? Ooh, although I don't have a spritzer, I do have Wink Stella. Let's add some of this in. Just going really whole hog on this one. I wonder if using that wet, I'm really just randomly trying stuff at this point. I want to get it to pick up more of the ink. Let's see if that's gonna, it's a bit deeper. Let's see if I can put it over the top of what I've already done. It's so pale the first time, I don't think this is going to affect it badly, but we'll soon find out. Yeah, I think that's worked. There we go. So if I bring it right up to the camera, hopefully it'll focus on it. See that sort of multicolored effect? Trying to get it to focus there. There we go. I think the background for this one, pink or purple, could go either way on this one. Let's do the berry burst, and let's do silver. Yeah, I think that's the way to go. I will take better photos of these and upload them to the page afterwards so you can see that it's worked really, really nicely. If you've got better baby wipes than mine, as I say, mine are a bit dry. The ink can come out a bit juicier, but actually it's worked really, it's given a really nice subtle effect, and you've got that multicolored, it just looks like a field of wildflowers, which is what I was hoping for, which I'm really pleased with. It was a brilliant idea, Linda. Well done, that lass. Well done. There we go. Really nice. I'll do a sentiment for that. I did just have, if you got time for one more, I realise it's 8:45. One more, because I've just had another idea that I want to try. I'll just do it really quickly. I won't do the layer, and I'll just use Granny Apple Green again. But I want to show you one more thing, which I think would work really nicely. Let's just clean this off. Got time for one more. Thanks, Karen. Do the sentiment with the same ink? Yes, I will, absolutely. But I just want to show you one more before I do it. So, and by the way, I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to give it a try and see. So, Granny Apple Green for that. And then this one I'm going to do, I'm going to do it in the azure afternoon. Where's my blue? No, I don't have it to hand. Let's do it in the, where's my berry burst gone? Don't have that to, yeah, there it is, berry burst. Let's do it, berry burst. No, do you know what? Gorgeous grape. I love gorgeous grape. So I'm going to try this with this. So let's ink up my gorgeous grape over the whole thing. And then I'm going to use this, 2 ticks. Right, so this is a spritzer bottle. It's just got water in it. And all I'm going to do is spritz water onto the flowers. And then quickly, hoping it doesn't run badly, I'm just going to line this up. And I should get more of a watercolour effect this time. I think I used too much water. It's gone a bit splodgy. Oh well, it was a nice idea. Some of these ones down here look a bit watercolory and a bit like painted, but oh well, I tried it, didn't work. At least now we know. So let's put that to one side. Hey Stacey! I'm sorry you haven't got your catalogue yet. It's definitely gone out in the post. I will chase that. But anyway, for tonight then, here are the cards that we've made. So we started off with our Gorgeous Grape, Highland Heather and Fresh Freesia. So when we did from bottom to top, dark to light. And then the second one we did was our Pretty in Pink, Petunia Pop and Berry Burst with light to dark going from left to right. Then we did our Field of Cornflowers where we used Balmy Blue as a base, and then Azure Afternoon and Boho Blue in the thumping technique over the top. And then finally, we haven't done the sentiment on it yet, but using the baby wipe technique to get this multicoloured effect in lots of different colours. So that's our cards for this evening. A quick reminder that the stamp set that we were using is this one here, Fields in Bloom, with the two-step stamping elements, and then the little bits down the side. Actually doing some of the clouds might look pretty, or a little bird. I might go back and pop a wee bird just in the skies above there. So I hope you have enjoyed that. I certainly have. Let me just flick this back to me and switch off my Blackpool illuminations. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you have enjoyed your evening, and I shall see you next week. Take care, everyone. Bye.